Hello everyone, my name is Rosalind Zacharias. I am the Employment Specialist for the Steps to Success program. I'm back again today with another workshop for you guys. Today's workshop is going to be on tips for managing your time. And before we get started, as always, I'd like to start with giving you guys our contact information, our ways that you can find us. You can find us at www.lssjacks.org. That is our location information. And if you're interested in joining our program, we offer completely free services to our clients. You can call us at 904-730-8256. And please remember to press like on this workshop. If you have any questions throughout the workshop, please make sure you're putting those in the comment section below, or you can private message us and we'll make sure to get back to you within 24 hours getting those questions answered. Alright, so let's get started. So to start off, we're going to talk about what is time management. So time management is the ability to maximize your efforts in coordinating tasks to be done most effectively. And it's basically all that means is just making sure that the right amount of time is being allocated for each task. So being able to know how much time is needed for a specific task and not spending more time on it if it's not necessary. So now that we know what time management is, let's talk about the benefits of managing your time. So when you have effective time management, you're able to be more productive, you're able to get more stuff done, you end up being less stressed because you're not worrying about things that haven't gotten done because you're managing your time, you're getting those things done. You have a better work-life balance. You won't when you're managing your time correctly, you won't find your work bleeding into your normal life or your regular life, and you'll have more opportunities. Again, when you're getting things done and you're managing your time effectively, you'll have more room for opportunities, for different opportunities, and you'll find yourself achieving goals better. You'll find yourself setting goals and achieving them much more effectively. So what are some consequences of not managing your time? So we talked a little bit about the benefits, but what are the consequences? So the consequences of not managing your time is that you'll find yourself wasting time. So you'll find yourself feeling that time has been wasted, that you're not being productive. You'll have poor workflow, poor quality of work. You'll find yourself feeling burnt out when you're not managing your time, and you'll have higher levels of stress because things aren't getting done when they're supposed to, and you'll feel higher stress levels because of that. So those are some consequences of not managing your time. So a quick overview of what we're going to be going over today. We're going to talk about some time wasters, some common time wasters, and then we'll go into some tips about some tips for managing your time. We'll talk about setting smart goals, and then we'll move into prioritizing our tasks wisely. We'll talk about avoiding multitasking, tracking our time, taking small breaks, and then I'll end it off with an activity that you guys are able to do at home. So starting with our time wasters. So some pretty common time wasters for us are going to be our telephone interruptions. So that'll be that random call you get. Excuse me, sorry. That random call you get, those text messages that you get while you're working, things like that. That would be a very common time waster. Another one would be extended breaks or lunches, especially at work. This one has to do a lot with work. When you take extra long breaks at lunch, or you're really enjoying your breaks, so you want to take extra few minutes, that is a time waster. Socializing is a big time waster, especially when you have a task. Um, when you're socializing, you're not focusing on the task at hand, therefore it ends up wasting time. Social media is also a big time waster. Social media is everywhere at our fingertips, on our phones, on our computers, everywhere. So that's definitely a time waster. It's something that breaks our attention away from the tasks that we're doing, and just unimportant tasks. An unimportant task that, in this example, would be anything other than the task that you're doing. and that would be considered a time waster because you're not focusing on the task. Excuse me. Therefore, it ends up wasting time. You take more time to do the task, and again, time management is all about effectively using your time and using only what's allotted for a task to do that task. And if you're doing unimportant tasks, it definitely isn't effective. So moving into our tips for managing our time, we want to make sure that we're setting goals. Goal setting is a big thing with time management. If you set a goal to finish something or do something, you're more likely to feel inclined to do it. But not only do we want to set goals, we want to make sure we're setting SMART goals. And this is a great graphic here that describes what SMART goals are. So SMART goals are, starting with the letter S, they're specific. So your goal is direct, detailed, and meaningful. And then moving on to M, they're measurable. Your goal is quantifiable. You can put a number to it. You're able to track the progress. You're able to track your success. It's attainable. Your goal is realistic, and you have the tools and resources to attain it. Your goals are relevant. Your goal is aligns with your company's mission, aligns with the mission, and it's time-based. So your goal has a deadline. So we really want to make sure that we're not only setting goals, but we're setting SMART goals. And this can be especially brought into into the example of in the job search when you're looking for jobs. And I wanted to give you an example of that, of setting SMART goals when it comes to job search. So we have a person here whose goal is to obtain a job as a CNA within 3 months of receiving a CNA certification. So this is how they would set a SMART goal. So this goal is specific because the goal is to become, the goal of becoming a CNA is well defined. They say it very much, very defined. They want to become a CNA. It's measurable, so they have, it could be measurable in the number of applications that are submitted, the number of interviews that they go to, the number of job offers that they get. So it's measurable. They're able to see if they're making progress in that. It's achievable in the way that they have the appropriate certification for the job that they're looking to get. So they're getting their CNA certification. Therefore, they're going to be having that CNA certification. They're able to get the jobs in CNA work. It's relevant. So a CNA person with a CNA is going into CNA work. And it's time-based, so they gave themselves a deadline of 3 months after receiving their certification. They're wanting to get that job, so it's time-based as well. So I wanted to give you guys that example so you guys can see how setting a SMART goal is really important, and how that is kind of laid out, and how that can be laid out in terms of finding a job and things like that. So the next tip we're going to be talking about is prioritizing our tasks wisely. So this is a great one too, when it comes to managing your time, is to really be able to figure out what's important and what's not important, what needs to be done first and what can be held off. So when we're prioritizing our tasks, we're going to look at it based on importance and urgency. And this is also a really great graphic here that kind of gives you 4 quadrants to kind of like think about the task at hand. So in the first quadrant, that's going to be talking about the things that are urgent and important. So those are going to be the things that you want to do. Those are going to be the probably the ones that are at the top of the priority list. Those are the things that you should do probably most immediately. The next quadrant is going to be important but not urgent. So these are things that you can plan to do. So these are going to be like the things that maybe would come second. Be like, okay, after I do this task, I can do this task at maybe 3 o'clock after I finish this stuff. So those are the things that you can plan to do. And then the next quadrant, the third quadrant, we have not important but urgent. So those are the things that you can delegate. So maybe like a sudden phone call seems important, but it's not urgent. You can maybe delegate time to do that later, or you can. So that's an example of that, being able to delegate that kind of task where it's not important but it seems urgent. And then the fourth and last quadrant here is going to be our not important and not urgent tasks. So these are going to be the ones that you want to eliminate, because if they're not important and they're not urgent, then you don't need to be doing it. That can be considered a time waster. So that's how you prioritize your tasks wisely. Now we're going to talk about avoiding multitasking. So this is a great statistic here. It says, according to Psychology Today, only 2% of people can actually multitask. And that leaves the remaining 98 of us just thinking that we can. So we really want to make sure that we're avoiding multitasking and think about quality over quantity. So really take the time to focus on one task, finish it completely, and then move on to the next one, because not everything can be number one. You can't drive two cars at once. You have to focus on the one car that you're driving at the moment. So make sure that you are avoiding multitasking, because like that statistic says, a lot of people can't do it, can't actually multitask. So we want to make sure we're focusing on the task at hand, finishing it to completion, and then moving on to the next one. So the next thing we're going to talk about is tracking our time. So we want to make sure that while we're setting those goals, we like we mentioned in the SMART goals, they're time based. So we want to make sure that we're tracking our time. So we're going to decide how much time we want to dedicate to something, and then we're going to stick to that. If you say, I'm going to get this project done or this task done in 1 hour today, we want to make sure that we're sticking to that. We gave ourselves an hour, we're going to get it done in an hour. But make sure we're being realistic with our time as well. Don't just try to shorten it just because you want to get it done faster, unless that is something that's realistic. But don't also give yourself an incredibly long amount of time, because again, you're allotting that time. So we're going to plan out what we want to get done, the steps that it takes to do something, and give yourself time for each one. So this allows you to kind of understand how long you should be taking on something, giving you a chance to lay out the steps. The first step, you could put the first step down and say, I want to take 5 minutes on this first step, 10 minutes on this second step, 30 minutes on the next. But it allows you to kind of lay out the steps you need to do in order to get the task done, and then allows you to put a time to that. And make sure you're tracking your progress. Did you get it done in time? Did you need more time? And kind of have an understanding of that. Okay, if you didn't have enough time to do it, that means you needed to allot more time to it. But also think about, did I waste any time? Were time wasters a part of take part in me not finishing it or me needing more time? And kind of allow yourself to evaluate how that went. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is being able to take small breaks. So we want to be able to take mini breaks in order to recharge. Now what this does is it really helps to boost motivation and energy, especially if you're working on a task. Allot yourself a time to take a mini break, because when we do this, it allows you time for those in quotes time wasters. Allows you to check your phone, go on social media for a second, and then go back. So it gives you a little bit of time to recharge and get your energy back. Because working on the same task for a while can be daunting, can feel like a little bit much. So it's good to take small breaks. But we want to avoid unplanned breaks. So schedule those breaks, but make sure you're not taking extra breaks. You're not doing extra things, because then that turns into time wasters. And work for blocks of time and then give yourself a break. So this is a good thing that you can do if you're like, oh, I don't know what to do with breaks. I don't know how to schedule these breaks. You can say, okay, I'm going to work for 2 hours maybe, or that maybe that's too much. You can say, I'm going to work for an hour straight, and then I'm going to give myself a little bit of a break, and then I'll go back into it. So work for blocks of time and then give yourself breaks in between. So lastly, we're going to be talking about this activity that you can do on your own time to kind of see if you're managing your time, and see how do you use your time in general. So there is 168 hours in 1 week, and I want you guys to calculate how much time you spend doing all of these things. So how much time you spend at work, how much time do you spend traveling from work to get groceries, all that. How much time do you spend traveling? How much time do you spend with your family? How much time do you spend socializing, doing chores, shopping, exercising, eating, sleeping, all of these things. If there's, and they don't have to fit into these categories. If you think of something else that you do, it can be video games. How much time do you spend doing video games a week, or doing something else? Just think about all the things that you do with your time and write them down, and write them down for a whole week, and then calculate that up. And does it equal to more than 168 hours? Like, do you have enough time to do all this stuff? And think about that. And if that number is higher than 168, then that means that you should work on managing your time a little bit better. Maybe there's something that you need to cut back on to put more time into something else. So if you're doing more time, if you're spending more time socializing than you are getting tasks done for work, and you need more time for work, you need to allot more time for work, or things like that. So this is a really great activity to show, to kind of put right in front of you, see the a tangible project where you're able to kind of write out how you're using your time, and to kind of see it's this. I've seen this be a really big eye opener for a lot of people, um, and they've noticed that they don't have enough time. They spend way too much time doing other things, and that's just an indicator that you could use a little bit of help managing your time. So that was our presentation today on time management. If you guys have any questions, please remember to put them in the comment section below, or you can private message us and we'll make sure to get those questions answered for you. Again, this was our workshop on time management, and you can reach us at www.lssjacks.org. And if you have any questions about our program, you're interested in joining our program, it's completely free to our clients. You guys can call us at 904-730-8256. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.